everyone, it's Mike from IT Biz Review. Hope you guys are having a great day. Today we're going to talk about prevention, IT security prevention, because a lot of people think that they understand prevention and they really don't, right? And what do I mean by this? In most cases, when people think of prevention, they think of antivirus or application whitelisting systems, right? Something to that effect, where it's going to, like a firewall for, most firewalls today will block any kind of an executable from coming onto their network, right? A very similar system on computers and on the actual devices is either antivirus, which blacklisting is what most people usually think of when they think of an antivirus prevention strategy, in which they'll have a list of applications or executables that are not allowed, that are known bad, and if they find these known bad applications or executables, they delete them off the system, right? So it's kind of usually after the fact type scenario. Sometimes they can catch it during the problem. But the problem is with unknown malware, right? Antivirus is basically worthless. It is worthless with unknown malware. Any advanced unknown malware, CryptoLocker, for instance, and of course remediation is not going to work after the fact either, right? Once you get CryptoLocker, it's too late to remediate any CryptoLocker. Try to remediate CryptoLocker and let me know how that goes, right? But antivirus and blacklisting obviously doesn't work either, because you're just going to have a bunch of advanced unknown applications that are going to be able to execute your system. Another problem that we see is with application whitelisting. The flip side of this, you have the blacklisting and then you have whitelisting, right? Now whitelisting is obviously it's going to be able to stop the unknown as well as the known. So anything that's not allowed, it's a default deny system, will be allowed to run. The problem historically with application whitelisting systems is their inefficiencies. It's very hard to maintain, especially to set up and scale a system under historically under application whitelisting. So we have this problem where we have most IT professionals thinking that those are the only two options for prevention. So it makes perfect sense why most people think then that only remediation, and you have this whole remediation hype inside of IT security land today. A lot of people are gearing towards remediation. Big companies are going to try and sell you remediation strategies all day long in it, and their marketing teams happen to do very well. Just like application whitelisting and blacklisting antivirus companies have marketing that's done very well, and selling the fake idea that antivirus is going to help your company or something like that, right? I think antivirus, sure, it has its place in a defense in depth strategy, but at the same time, it's just really horrendous when it comes to actually blocking malware because it can't catch the unknowns. So we're stuck in this conundrum, right, where blacklisting doesn't work and whitelisting is just too much of a headache. And this is why you can see why most people are now turning to trust listing. Trust listing obviously can block all the advanced unknowns that antivirus can't. The blacklisting antivirus just can't pick up, which we can just discard that as a prevention strategy altogether. Just like remediation, try to remediate CryptoLocker. So remediation's out the window, it doesn't work. Antivirus blacklisting is basically worthless. Application whitelisting, the only third part of this trifecta historically for IT security, is just a wash because it is so inefficient and it takes so much time to set up and manage and all this other nonsense, right? It's very hard to maintain. Having to recheck applications, you have to push the whitelist out to every device. Anybody who's done a whitelisting application, whitelisting system knows there's a reason most people have given up on whitelisting. Now, let's get into trust listing, because it really is the future. Trust listing obviously handles all the problems with antivirus. If you're going to remediate something, you might as well prevent it before it becomes a problem. You have to remediate the problem, right? So it handles remediation as well. What trust listing does is it really reduces the amount of remediation you have to do. There's no such thing as, if you have a malicious insider who can get around your system somehow, you're going to have to remediate that. But you're going to have a lot less remediation problems, especially with malware side of things, when you have a trust listing system. And of course, trust listing was made by the professionals who left application whitelisting in the dust and said, the companies like CoreTrace and Lumention and Bit9, I'm sure some of you guys call them Bit9, but Bit9 out there, they do application whitelisting. Now they've teamed up with Carbon Black for some remediation strategies. It's just more of the same. These companies are obviously falling behind to the trust listing, this new sector called trust listing, and it handles all of the problems that application whitelisting historically has come with. You do not have to push whitelists out to every device. Thank goodness. You can just queue it up on a cloud or even have it on an appliance like on its own island. With application trust listing, you can easily scale the system. It's very easy to add on devices and scale your system, so you can add on more and more computers and devices onto your network without the headache of whitelisting, because anybody who's gone through application whitelisting, they'll sell it to you as easy until you buy the product, and 6 months down the road when you have to scale, then you find out how hard it really is. Trust listing was made by people who realized the downfalls of application whitelisting, knew that application whitelisting would never be good, and just wanted to create this new sector of trust listing. So trust listing is the future. Trust listing makes it so you can have the protections of known viruses and unknown malware, and it's very efficient, it's easy to handle, and it's scalable, and it's easier to maintain. You don't have to push a whitelist out to every device, and trust listing doesn't come with those huge upfront costs that application whitelisting. Try to sign a contract with IBM or Lumention or Bitch9, and you're going to find yourselves stacked up with a very high upfront cost just trying to implement this structure, because they know the only option is blacklisting antivirus, and that doesn't work. So of course they can charge more, especially when there's so few competitors out there, right? There's not that many people who can set up a good whitelisting application whitelisting system. So trust listing, lower upfront costs, you can scale it, it's easier to manage, and you don't have the headache that you historically had, and it's much safer in that trust listing systems don't use signing certificates, which are just, you're setting yourself up for failure with signing certificates. They've obviously been hacked. Bit9, one of the companies that uses signing certificates still to this day, they were just hacked within the last couple of years, and people were signing malware as good, right? So this is obviously a huge problem, and what trust listing does, trust listing makes it so that you use a hashing fingerprint system. In fact, you use a whole handprint instead of a fingerprint. We call it a fingerprint system in the industry. But instead of using signing certificates, which can easily be forged, they take 5 different hashing algorithms and the file size and put it into another algorithm, and it's almost impossible. Like, there's a greater chance of the world getting hit by an asteroid tomorrow and exploding and everybody dying than there is of somebody hacking. Now, sure, you can have a super mega computer in 20 years, but that's down the road. They think, the people who do trust listing today think you can even get around that by future-proofing their hashing system. So, application whitelisting and blacklisting antivirus, if you're still on that, you can expect to end up like Target, their CEO and their CIO. You will not have a job within the next few years if you continue to push remediation, antivirus, and application whitelisting. Those 3 things, which are the main staples of the IT security diet today, they are out the window. If you're on this and you're just catching up to application whitelisting, you are already behind everybody else in the industry, most people in the forefront. Trust listing's where it's at. So if you are not focused on a trust listing solution, you might as well kiss your IT career goodbye. You might as well just prepare for, I am going to be out of a job within the next 2 to 3 years. If I continue with blacklisting, I will be breached and I will be out of a job. If I continue with application whitelisting, I will make it 10 times harder. I will have all these added costs onto my business and I will be out of a job. And if you stick with remediation strategies, you've already given up and you will be out of a job. Trust listing is the only thing that will actually keep your job. It makes it so you don't have to worry. On the weekends, you can go home and enjoy time with your family, and you don't have to worry about what's executing on your system with that antivirus, right? You don't have to worry about pushing the whitelist out to every other new scalable device with whitelisting application, which will keep you above your 45 plus hours that you already work, right? Why work an extra 25 hours to manage a whitelisting system? It's ridiculous. Save your time, spend it with your family, and do not count on remediation strategies. If you are counting on remediation strategies, you've already given up. It doesn't work. It's after the fact. Try to remediate CryptoLocker, and we'll see what your boss says by the time that's done. Said and done. Oh, but I had a backup. Wow, great work. You're still out of a job. You shouldn't allow the breach in the first place. Stop the breach. Stop the malware. Stop the breaches. That's really the only key to it. So, trust listing is the future. If you're stuck on application whitelisting, if you're stuck on blacklisting antivirus, if you're stuck on remediation strategies, expect to not be an IT. Don't consider yourself an IT professional. Maybe 10 years ago you could have been, right? That would have been the new hot thing then. But nowadays, those things don't work anymore. They're already out the window. You have to go with something that's future-proofed, that's more secure, that's not going to give you the headache, that doesn't have the upfront costs. Why pay 6 figures to set up a system. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I can't understand why some of these IT professionals out here still continue to support remediation, antivirus, and application whitelisting when all of them are obviously outdated. And these traditional security systems obviously don't work, or you wouldn't have the breaches today. Companies that move to trust listing don't have the breaches, they don't have these problems, and their CIOs and CEOs, they're going to have their jobs for decades to come, not just years. So thank you guys for checking us out here on IT Biz Review, and I will hopefully be back within the next couple days to give you a better in-depth look at some more IT security and business topics. We'll be looking at sales, marketing, a variety of different things to help you guys improve your fixture inside of the industry of IT security and the business world as a whole. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. Once again, Mike Shanklin from itbizreview.com, and I will talk to you guys soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.